Hello and welcome to another Whimsy Stories legacy video where we plan and prep for the beginning of the actual Let's Play. I went ahead and I did purchase the Eco Lifestyle expansion pack because it really did have everything that I needed going forward to really get the most out of this legacy challenge. And as I say, I want to put in the most because I want to change my gaming sessions and just fully immerse myself back into the world of The Sims, especially having been on and off of it in the recent months. So there's me just scrolling through seeing what's new with this pack. I was looking for Evergreen Harbour and it wasn't standing out straight away, but here we are. I located it and it is very much industrialized, but I guess that's the point, right? It's with the hopes of improving it and making it eco-friendly and green and clean. One thing I really found interesting when I actually get into the gameplay in another video is how the Sims like cough as they walk around because of how polluted the air is. So I thought that was a really interesting touch. So yeah, the goal today is to make my founder sim called Luna Grace. I'm making her BFF. So just having a little look on the world, who we already have, who we can meet in future videos, and just kind of getting like the lay of the land before I jump into CAS and actually begin creating the best friend. I was also trying to map out the best place to put the NPCs that I created in the last prep and plan video. So I decided to move all 5 of them in with the Greenberg family because I didn't know really like whether to create a new lot or like just merge or what. So I thought to make it more of a commune kind of vibe, let's just chuck them all in it together, right? And I wasn't too sure, like I didn't have the thought of the money cheat in my head to like decrease their money, but at the same time it's an unplayed household, so I didn't think it would matter too much, right? So yep, just merged them all together. They ended up changing their household name, I think, to the Greenbergs, I think, but yeah, that kind of got them back into the playable world of Evergreen Harbour, which is the active place that this gameplay is going to be in. So jumping into CAS, let's begin kind of looking into like the traits and aspirations, and similar to what I had done in the previous video when I was making like the townies, the homeless NPCs, I am aiming to make the best friend kind of more nature centric, interested in the great outdoors, maybe a fragrant, I can't remember if I selected that or not off the top of my head, and also just like really into like fishing and making and things like that, because I feel like they'd all be great attributes to have if you're living a bit more simply. This particular character isn't really living super simply, but I'll get a little bit more to the backstory as the video progresses. And so now I chose the name Momo DaQuis. It was kind of like a random name, especially the last name. But Momo I had in mind, Dandadan, and I was like, Momo. So it's kind of more like a cute little nickname, I guess. Maybe their name is like Maureen, I'm not sure. But Momo is what they go by. And I do have a little bit of a backstory for them. So yes, they are best friends with Luna Grace, and they've been childhood friends since, I don't know, before they could remember. I don't have too much depth of whether or not they've been friends since like infancy or more since they were in like primary school, middle school, secondary school, that sort of vibe, but nevertheless childhood friends in all intents and purposes. They didn't always get on with their parents, but I would say not to the extent that Luna Grace had with her home life. I feel like Momo was more kind of rebellious in nature and sort of just had parents that weren't as supportive as they'd wanted them to be, especially when it came to all the recycling and kind of feeding into this green living. I believe their parents to be a bit more frivolous. They are sort of acquainted with Luna's parents, who are very like well-to-do, kind of show that they're wealthier than they really are, but they're not as snobby as Luna's parents. So they did try. It was more that they just didn't get it, and they thought that their child was kind of missing out on all of life's great opportunities and kind of wasn't achieving everything that they wanted for them. But they weren't too toxic with it. They just kept kind of subliminally telling Momo that, you know, you could be doing better than this. I don't know why you're wasting your years doing all of this stuff. So, you know, they just decided, you know what, I'm into eco-living, I'm going to go off and live in a commune, which of course the parents thought were more of like a cult vibe, right? That's kind of the thought process they had in their head. But really, Momo is living with like wealthy hosts. They do kind of immerse themselves in the community and help like in that way, but they do still have luxury comforts and aren't going the full hog that Luna is, wanting to start from the ground up sort of thing. Momo is very comfortable in kind of living in a nice house, but you know, working for non-profits and that sort of thing, kind of building like business opportunities in that way that are going to help the community surrounding them and just the world and environment for the better, but knowing that it's a long process, right, and not everybody takes them seriously. But they are more on the I'd rather sleep on a bed than a floor kind of vibe. Then we've got the situation where Momo has invited Luna to stay in Evergreen Harbour nearby when they realised how bad Luna's situation really was at home. They've invited them to actually like stay like with their wealthy hosts, but Luna's more like, no, I really want to kind of make it on my own. I want to kind of just work out my life basically. So Momo is very supportive of Luna wanting to build up from scratch with life, business, love, etc., but always offers, you know, a warm place to sleep when it's rough out, a nice hot shower when needed, that sort of thing, and is very supportive in Luna's kind of all-in lifestyle. So yeah, that's kind of the backstory of Momo. A little bit more bougie than Luna Grace's vibe, but they get on quite well nevertheless. At least that's the idea. So with theme and vibe, I wanted to go again, you know, I love my ginger curls, so I went for a nice more froey texture of lovely coppery strands. I've gone for kind of like a bluey green eye colour and a deeper skin tone. I've made Momo on the plumper side, a little bit tall, not super tall, not super short, kind of like middle of the road, I would say. And yeah, I really had a lot of fun making this character. I kind of forgot that this wasn't going to be my founder character, and I put a lot of work in, I feel like, and I was like, oh, I gotta rein it in a little bit, calm down, chill out. But I think this is going to be a really fun character to have dotted around as an NPC and build up a relationship with Luna. Before we leave CAS, do you like the new background for it? I've got it saved as Rosemary CAS. I'm guessing that's the creator, but it's so stunning, right? I was typing in things like botanical backgrounds, that sort of thing, and that's one of the ones that I really liked. I think it's so pretty. So we are now putting in Momo into the world, and this is where I'm sort of deciding where to place them, and I decided to go off with a already sort of existing family because I couldn't fit them in with what is now called the Greenberg family, but which is actually the NPC townies that I created last time, and moved them in to make like a blended community lot. So I ended up popping them into the family called the Tinkers, which is really worked out quite nicely actually, because now I can kind of utilize that as a jumping point for a story where Momo's kind of almost living with them as an internship of sorts, while still trying to be immersed as much as possible in the eco living and kind of building like cool, green, clean equipment to better Evergreen Harbour in specifically. And yeah, so it's a really cute little family, 2 mums and a daughter, and now Momo living with them too. So once I've popped Momo into the world, the last thing to do really is to save and just make sure in manage household that I've got them as an unplayed household, so I can save it as NPCs and have my typical day-to-day interactions when I log in as my founder character. So that is it. That is Momo DaQuis all done. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed, and I'll catch you in another video soon. Bye.